All right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to you, wherever you are in this beautiful world. Welcome to our Inner Circle Live pre-New York session. I'm your host, Ryan Carthage. We'll be joined shortly by my awesome partner, Mr. Benny Allen. Hope everybody is doing well today. This fine Wednesday. So, as always, let's turn off all distractions, grab a pen and paper, let's take lots of notes, and let's make sure that we participate and engage. All right. Um, Today we'll take a look at fundamentals, and we'll start with any charts that you guys have your eyes on that you want me to take a look at. Uh, excuse me, and then we will dive into um, any other pairs that are sitting out there. So, without further ado, let's hop over to trading economics. All right, let's go back to the top. Government bond yields edge lower. Um, Yields fell below multi-year highs as dovish comments from Fed officials lowered expectations of another interest rate hike this year, while safe haven demand increases due to war in the Middle East. Um, benchmark 10-year Treasury yield for the U.S. fell to 4.56, as the German 1 year went down to 2.73. Traders now await FOMC meeting minutes and fresh price data later today, further clues on Fed expectations. So that's where all the eyes are sitting right now, waiting to see what the data says and waiting to see what transpired in those meeting minutes. So lots of things have been on pause due to that fact, right? So it's been a little bit of slow motion, okay? Outside of the safe haven push. Then we have where's the other one at? Inflation expectations. Eurozone inflation expectations over the next 12 months, meeting consumer expectations for the euro area over the next 12 months edged up to 3.5 in August, representing an increase from the July readings, which had reached a 1.5 year lows at 3.4. According to the data from the ECB Consumer Expectations Survey, simultaneously expectations for inflation 3 years ahead edged up for the second consecutive month to 2.5. Additionally, uncertainty about inflation expectations over the next 12 months declined. It's the lowest level observed since March 2022, shortly after the start of the war in Ukraine. The development in inflation expectations remain closely aligned across income groups, although younger respondents continue to report inflation expectations that their older counterparts, or than their older counterparts. So consumers expect inflation to increase. We have central bank members saying inflation has peaked in some areas. So we'll continue to watch that and see how the consumer expectations shift along with the actual expectations. So over to the calendar. Not a ton happened overnight. Hold on. There we go. Not a ton happened overnight. Yesterday we had more FOMC members speaking. I'll drop this link in the chat for you guys. But basically, FOMC members are saying that they believe that inflation has peaked, and they're expecting a soft landing. So you're starting to hear those terms come back out: soft landing, soft landing. So we shall see what happens, but a lot of those members are saying inflation has peaked and leaning towards no further rate hikes this year, which in the last meeting, FOMC meeting, Powell said that there was a potential for at least one more hike this year. So we'll continue to watch the narrative to see how it shifts, and monitor things as it continues to move. All right. Right here is where all eyes are. 8:30, got core PPI. So this is the price data that we're watching. And then shortly after that, we got another member Waller speaking, and then 2:00 FOMC meeting minutes. So that's what folks are looking at and waiting to see what those numbers say, to then get insight on more of what the Fed could do. Okay. And then tomorrow morning we got GDP for the pound coming out. So that's what we said fundamentally. Not a ton going on right now. Yeah. Also, I'm going to drop this to you guys too. I've just been monitoring the layoff situation, which will lead to unemployment. So this is just a layoff tracker that Forbes has. Just watching the jobs numbers to see how things continue to move, and this gets updated daily. So strike is still moving on with the UAW, and they are continuing to lay off workers due to not able to finish some jobs. So workers have been laid off at all three plants. Recently, Washington Post laid off some team members. Yeah, NPR, Vox, Vice, ESPN, and Los Angeles Times also have cut workers as well. So yeah, so that's just another little data point that I'm watching on the back end. So but do you guys have anything fundamental that you guys saw, or any questions from a fundamental perspective? Nope. All right. All right. So let's take a look at the dollar, and then pound NZD. We'll take a look at it. So we'll say any pair that you guys have your eyes on that you want me to take a look at, drop those into the chat for me, and we will rock through those first. So starting with the dollar. Continue to press to the downside. Coming into this daily support level here, level that Reese let us know about to keep our eyes on. We got there and we're stalling a bit right now. Okay, so we will continue to monitor to see if we stay above this level and bounce back to the upside, or do we break down below and continue pressing lower. Okay, the data today will help us decide that, right? So we'll keep our eyes there on that support level. Coming down to the 4, right? You see that move down off the high. Like so, sub-fib AB boundary right in line with that support level. So we'll see what type of bounce we get, right? What type of retracement comes. Maybe we get potential head and shoulders action here on the dollar. Something like that. We'll watch and see what the retracement looks like, or maybe dollar just runs to the upside. So we'll monitor and see how things move. Coming back down to the 1, we see that just a bit more closely, right? The D extension on this 1 hour fib to the downside is below that support level. So I have to watch that to see if we break this level or not. Okay. So we'll watch. We'll watch closely to see what happens with the data after it comes out. We'll see what the response is from investors. All right. So that's the DXY. Any questions here from a dollar perspective? All right, cool deal. Let's take a look at this pound NZD. It's slowly moving. Slowly moving. We got pound GDP coming tomorrow. Could give us some insight, but also we'll see what happens with the data today, right? Could push capital into the safe havens. Generally, so this one is interesting because you have the pound that a lot of times will move with the stock market, but you also have a New Zealand dollar that's a commodity currency. So it'll be interesting to see which one takes precedence here. We could potentially see in the short term the pound move, and then as capital flows back into the commodity currencies, especially if this war lingers on, we'll see that shift, and then we could see the New Zealand dollar pick up a bit. So this is on the 1 hour, that 80-20 scenario. Price did not close below this level here, gave us a double bottom, and we're slowly making our way to the upside. Right. So the 80-20 is still intact, still looking for that thing to continue moving top side. All right. We can start to run our sub fibs off the low here, like so. 8-6 retracement. We're making our way to the D extension at 204, 245. All right. So still pushing long. It's just taking a sweet time. Just taking a sweet time. So that's the play there on the pound NZD. If we come back to the 4 hour, we also have the 80-20 scenario there, right? Which is a similar look. There's that double bottom pushing to the upside there. Okay. So questions on the pound New Zealand. Joy, what you got your eyes on? What you looking at?
I mean, I'm in it, but I guess, it's at this point to where it's just lingering. And I guess I was questioning if it stays in that position, do you think it's going to drop and then go back up?
This is one of those times where I just set it and keep it moving. Yep. And the risk is intact. So if it hits a stop loss, it hits the stop loss. But you got to remind yourself, right? We see when price gets into these 118, 127 zones, we see consolidation a lot of times, right? That's part of the nature of this particular of the setup. So the consolidation doesn't concern me.
Well, it wasn't necessarily the consolidation. Is just where price, it looked like price tend to linger under there instead of closer to the next low high.
Yeah, no. For me, it's all in the 118, 127 zone. So I take it all as that consolidation in that zone. No matter like if it's above a certain level or below a certain level, it's all consolidation in that zone for me. So that's how I see it. You follow what I'm saying?
Yeah, I got you. I'm gonna get there. I'm gonna get there. I'm gonna close the chart.
No, you there, man. You there. Right? Just walking through that, wanting it to go, right? Sometimes it takes longer than expected. And this is a pair that moves when it moves, right? We don't tend to see a ton. We'll see consolidation happen periodically, right? And then when it goes, it goes. So even if we go back on this particular pair and just look at the moves that it's made, when it does go into consolidation, sometimes it can take its time. And then when it takes off, right? So even with this particular pair, just looking at it in itself, we see periods of consolidation, and those periods of consolidation can linger for a while before price moves. But like I said, when it goes, you see it goes, right? So all about the patience. all about the patience. So we'll get there. We'll get there. You got it. Yeah, so here's the deal. Moves within the moves, right? If you're looking at trying to scalp and in those sorts of things, looking at lower time frame deals, I get it, right? Wanting to dig down and look at these smaller waves. And if that's part of your strategy, cool. But if you're sheerly just playing these 80-20 scenarios, and we can walk through some, but this consolidation is normal, right? It's normal. So these sub fibs that you see us run off of the lower, off of the high, as the move initiates, that's just to track the waves in the direction that we were anticipating price to go, right? And then if we want to add to a trade, we can do that. But when looking at price getting going, right, this is normal, right? This is all normal. We see it happen time and time and time again. So for Ann, moves within the move, if you're looking for those and you're trying to scalp those, cool. But if this is just a position that you're looking to hold, like you said, you scalp the Euro USD and you swing everything else. So allow this to swing. Don't look at the move within the move. Just allow price to do what it's going to do, and sit back and wait, right? Because you can find, and if you want to scalp, then scalp, right? But if you're going to swing trade, then swing trade. But if you're going to scalp, you're going to come down to these lower time frames, right? And you see your retracements happening all the time, right? So you really have to, this is what comes back to your trading plan and really honing in on being specific about what you're going to do, right? And if you do scalp some pairs and swing some pairs, stick to that. Don't mix in both, right? Or if you do have a separate account that you do that in, you want to be really, really, really specific and track your data so that, again, right, consistent process gives you consistent results, right? If you're bouncing back and forth and dabbling here and dabbling there, you're not going to find that consistency that you're looking for, right? So just being really specific there, and then just realizing that consolidation in the zone happens all the time, right? And so it's not about a perfect entry. It's not about getting priced as soon as it turns around. No, that's not what we discuss, right? Yeah. So we gotta shift our thought process from perfect entry. So it's not, perfection doesn't exist, so it's not a real thing, right? We're just making things up in our head to make ourselves feel good, right? But having an entry where you calculate your stop loss, you calculate your risk, and you make the move that fits your rules. That's that. If there's a perfect entry, that's what the perfect entry is. You followed your rules exactly, right? And so when that thought pops into your head of, I want this perfect entry, immediately ask yourself, are my rules met? So we can change the label of that idea to, as soon as price turns around, to the perfect entry is my rules. All of my rules are met, and sticking to that. That's a major piece. Is going to be really, really key for us to hone in on, because we have to ensure that we stick to the plan, right, and not stray from that. So I hope that helps.
No, it helped. It's a reminder, and it's like, I guess that goes back. I can hear Biddy now. Be patient, because I guess I feel a little greedy because I want to move on to the next trade, even though it might not be one out there.
Yeah,
if that makes sense.
Yeah. No, I feel you on that for sure, right? And like Shauna used to say, she would physically sit on her hands, right? Physically sit on her hands to ensure that she didn't push no buttons. And that was her reminder, just sit still, right? That was her trigger, okay? So we might have to find some of those things that we put in place to ensure that when you have those feelings, right? Go back to what's the root of them. Why are we in this space? Are we rushing to make some extra capital? Are we rushing to do this joy for you? Want to get trades in because you've been sitting on the sideline for a minute, right? So thinking through what the root of that sense of urgency is, and just walking it back and sitting still and being patient so that we can make the right decisions, right? Not the perfect decision, but the right decision. So you got it. We walking through this thing. Glad it helps though. All right, cool deal. And we had dollar pairs. Benny, good morning, bro.
Ryan, good morning. Good morning, everybody. How are you, Ryan?
I'm doing well, man. Doing well. How about yourself?
Oh, man, doing pretty good. Great day to be alive.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. How's the baby girl feeling?
She's doing all right, man. I'm just gonna keep her home from school today. So,
Okay.
had to do the call in thing and all that stuff. So,
Yeah.
yep.
Cool deal, man. Hope she gets well soon.
Hey, appreciate it.
Anything on your mind from a fundamental perspective, bro?
Oh no, man. Just I know you've seen that front page on Trading Economics, but we already see it technically with the bond yields creeping down a bit on the, and we know how that impacts the dollar.
Yep.
Yeah. So those are coming down. That's, and you saw an article this morning just from some of the dovish Fed speak. So some folks are thinking maybe maybe we don't get another rate hike, right? In November.
Yeah,
so,
that's what they're saying, man.
Yeah. So that's pretty much what I've had my eyes on, as we know that those yields are so high. It's like, at what point do they come down? But technically, we were kind of ahead of it, right? With that Euro USD setup and dollar Swissy setup and things like that. So we got that right. It's been a wild ride with that dollar, but it's looking like it's playing out in our favor right now, some of those pairs.
Yeah, it is for sure. For sure. We were definitely right on time. Definitely right on time. Cool deal, bro. Appreciate you, man.
Anytime.
All right. So dollar yen. We're still lingering up here, high in the zone, right? Daily time frame. Pushing long. We got this breakdown, and then we've just been pushing sideways, right? You got this 4-hour support level here, and really more of a daily support level. Let me see. No, because that's the low point there. So we'll put that daily support there. All right. Excuse me. But you see the tightly wound range that we're sitting in. Okay. And we got meeting minutes and PPI data coming up that investors got their eyes on. So Bank of Japan, there was a news conference a couple of days ago where Bank of Japan said they are looking at the policy, but again, they're being patient in making any changes. So they continue to restate what they've stated, and they haven't changed. So it's all based on the dollar and what's happening with the dollar. So we do have some back and forth here, but we're just moving sideways. So not a ton happening on the dollar. Yen coming down to the 4. We'll bring that off the low. Right, there's our 80-20 scenario. Push down to the 382 there. But again, right, you see that just tightly wound range that we're just sitting in right now. So just sideways, nothing happening, nothing doing. Our bias is to the downside. Especially with the Reddit coming out of the Fed, but we still need a break out of the consolidation, right? We still need price to move out of this range. So patience is key. Patience is key. Okay. So coming down to the one, same story. Hold on, was it? My bad. We'll come back down and we'll run our fibs off the low here. But patience is key, right? Just allowing price to do what it's going to do. There's an 80-20 scenario there on the 1 hour time frame. Sideways push. There's that consolidation. If you're in this short, again, another scenario where allow price to do what it's going to do, right? You calculated your stop loss. You calculated your risk overall. Now we're just allowing price to do what it's going to do and move where it's going to go, right? Patience, patience, patience. Okay. You got to sit tight and just allow price to move. So just moving sideways right now. So we'll wait and see what happens after the data and see where it pushes. And then with the minutes, we'll see what happens after the minutes come out, after they're absorbed. Then we'll see where the market goes from there. So just sideways on the dollar again. Any questions here?
Nope.
All right, cool deal. Euro dollar setup. So daily time frame, we pushed into this 106 level, right? Pushed into the 106 level, getting a bit of a reaction, some indecision, but again, makes sense ahead of key reports. Coming down to the 4, see the progress in the move here, right? Beautiful swing off the low, came into this daily resistance level. Now we're pressing sideways. Okay, so we'll watch to see if we're able to break above this and continue to move to the upside, right? But that's going to call for the DXY to break below that support level and continue pressing down. Okay, so it'll be interesting to see how this moves. The other option is, right, price coming to the downside, pulling back. Okay, price pulling back. It pulls back, right? We could be in for a potential head and shoulders crown pattern, right? Down in the range here. And then we'll see support level if we get a bounce. But again, right, looking at that consolidation in this 118, 127 zone, that's that movement, right? So we not ruling out consolidation here, right? So we'll monitor to see how price moves. Okay, if you get a trend line break on a lower time frame, it could be headed back down. Cool, right? So this is a scenario where you want to make sure, right, ahead of key data, we manage our trade, right? But we also calculated our stop, right? If your stop's outside the D, I shifted mine up a bit, right? But just calculating and allowing price to move. Allow price to move how it's going to move. Okay. So that's on the 4. Coming down to the 1. All right. There's our push there on the 1. Okay. So that's where we are, waiting to see what the data says and see if we break this level to the upside and continue pushing, or if it breaks back down to the downside and pushes back down to the lows. Okay. Questions on the euro dollar?
Nope.
I have no idea which direction this pair is going.
Yeah, no doubt. And it's all about, right, allowing the waves to do what it's going to do, right? We're all we can do, Marshall, is follow our plan, right? And our plan says when price gets into the zone, right, we take the trade and we anticipate price getting to at least at 382. We calculate our risk and we'll allow price to do what it's going to do. Right. So back to the conversation we're just having, just about sitting tight and being patient. Right. Sitting tight and being patient and just allow price to move as it's going to. Right. And being okay with wherever it goes. Being okay wherever it goes. Right.
That's
Because
exactly what I'm doing.
bingo. So you're on track. Right. So you're on track. And now we just sit back and watch the show. Right. Now we just sit back and watch the show and see what's said, see what those meeting minutes say. And right, if we sit and look at the meeting minutes and look at it from put our investor hats on, right, and look at it from a Fed perspective, now we'll be able to see, okay, these are the words that were chosen in these meeting minutes. This is how the market responds. We put that in our notes, right? We put that in our journal, right? If it causes price to pull back, we journal that in our with our trade journal, right? And say meeting minutes came out. This was the reaction to the market, right? This is what was said. And then you look at some of the reports and see what some of the key quotes that they pulled out that tell you what investors are looking at. And say, okay, these are the key words that they read into that caused this reaction. Let me jot those down. Right. So now as you review and we see scenarios like this happen again, now you become more aware of what's happening. And you can recall some of the scenarios, right? Just as we talked about the other day with the war in with Israel and Palestine, right? What we saw last year with Russia and Ukraine, the war lingered on and commodities took over, right? There was an initial push into the safe havens, but as the war moved into 2, 3, 4 weeks in, you saw commodity currencies really pick up. So that's something that we keep our eyes on and keep in the back of our mind in this current scenario, right? So as you journal these things, you'll become more aware and they'll come back to mind as you come across these similar situations in the future. So good work though, good patience. No other questions on the euro dollar. We'll go over to the pound dollar. Pretty decent move, right? We broke the support level at 123, right? And now we're coming back to retest the level. Break, retest, right? Break and retest. So we'll watch to see what happens here. See if that level holds as a resistance level, right? Maybe we push higher. So we'll watch that level to see what happens. Again, data will give us some insight. Coming down to the 4, pushing up into our zone here, right? 618 retracement on the 4-hour, just shy of that weekly previous support. So question is, does it serve as resistance? Okay, so watch this closely. If the DXY continues to pull back and breaks its current support level, we could see this break its resistance level and press higher. Okay, so that's the inverse correlation there that we'll watch and we'll monitor. But price pushing to the upside nonetheless here. Okay, so data will give us insight on where the market's going to go, and then we sit back and wait. And then as things settle in, then we can make a decision on where we want, what decisions we want to make from there. Okay, coming down to the 1, there's our move, right? There's our move to the upside. So again, coming into a 618 retracement there on the 1-hour time frame as well. So if this weekly level holds, we'll look to get back short, right? But in this scenario, right, 1-hour time frame, I'm going to want to see a break of the cloud or a break of a trend line, right? That's what I would want to see here. If you use your trend lines, chop them in like so. And you wait. If you get a nice bearish candlestick break, boom, now you're on, right? Or if you get break of the cloud with a Kumo twist, TK crossover, then you're on, right? But step by step, walking through those rules. Are they met? Are the rules met? Right? Not how do I feel, not what do I think, but are the rules met? Yes or no? Those are things that have to be black and white, right? If you get into the, well, I feel like, or no, walk yourself back. Pull out your rules, sit them in front of you. Do they say this? Yes or no? Right? And really, really, really force that discipline. As we go into this next phase, man, we're really going to dig in on this discipline piece, right? And we're really going to dig in on sticking to the rules, so that we can ensure that we're all making the progress that we desire to make, right? So it's going to be key that you really buckle down and start instilling those habits now. Okay. So that's the pound dollar. Questions on the pound dollar. We're getting close, and we're getting close. Don't have a set date just yet, but we're almost there. We're almost there. We've been putting in. That's funny, Joy. We've been putting in a lot of work, man. Really working to ensure that all of the important information that we need you guys to have is there, right? And ensuring that we present it in a way that's easily digestible and easy to understand. Current training is, but our goal is to make it better, right? And so we've been doing a ton of back and forth, done a ton of adjusting and changing and adding different elements for those reasons. And we want the experience to be just that, an experience. So so that you guys can really, really take hold of it and really, really own some of these things in different ways with different types of experience, right? Not just visuals, right? Not just watching a video, but having multiple elements within. Also, the redesign of the community so that we can increase the engagement within the community, so that our ecosystem is evolving the way that we're evolving on the charts and the way that we're evolving mentally. So it's, when you guys see it, man, I think you guys will be excited. I definitely think you guys will be excited. So it's coming. It's coming. It's absolutely coming. It's always good to go back. I still go back and watch the videos. Always be a student. Always be a student, right? It's never a bad thing to go back and reassess or study more, right? You never heard anybody saying study more is a bad thing. So cool deal. Any other questions? Benny, you got any other thoughts on the question about the training?
No, I think I don't know. I think it's awesome what we're putting together. You know, it's kind of like it's like the way I felt like the process is going. It's kind of like writing that novel. You know, when you hear people, say that they write a book in the time that it takes and how they go back and they rehash things and rewrite things, re-edit things. And, because for a person, for example, like a biography, right? That's like the book of their life. And it's kind of, how I looked at this, like it's that book that's really explaining and it's, how our trading career has gone, everything that we've learned, throughout our journey. So it's been a worthwhile endeavor. It's been a strenuous endeavor, when you go back through all your journal notes and you try to put together a program, but it's one that's worthwhile, that I think it'll benefit a lot of people, who are willing to put in the work,
That's the key.
and I know our members are willing to do that. So that's about all I have to say about it. It's been a long road, but it's coming, towards the end, and I'm excited about it.
Yeah, man, that's actually a good way to put it. Writing that biography. Yeah, it's definitely been that. So cool deal. Beautiful, great work. That's
We
what
could
it
tell.
takes.
We could tell.
Yeah. The growth has been amazing, man. The growth that we've witnessed you guys go through, your evolution has been amazing. It really has. And that's for us as coaches, right? That's our goal, right? We want to see you guys grow, see you guys evolve and reach the goals that you have set for yourself, right? Because we can do what we're gonna do all day long, but the real test is, can you help somebody else? Can you move somebody else along their journey, right? And that's what we're focused on, is really ensuring that we create an environment, and we create the tools that really allow anybody that's willing to put in some work the ability to take those steps, right? So it's that's what it's about, man. Cool deal. Let's take a look at this cash Swissy, right? We're still getting some pushes to the safe haven, right? So we got the support level, this daily support level coming in at 66,186. So really, the continued move down makes sense, right? We got previous resistance. Could it serve as support, right? So that continuous move into this capital flow into the safe haven currencies, coming down into a key level of support. So we'll see if this level holds and see if we can bounce from there. Okay, coming down to the 4. We're still lingering, but we're starting to press down to the downside here, right? This is our 80-20 scenario on the 4, but we got a D extension coming in line with that daily support level. So this is a scenario where we could hit the D extension on the 4-hour time frame and just move down, right? This could be one of those 20% scenarios, right? And a fundamental catalyst, right? War breaking out. So this kind of, in the short term, makes sense to come to the support level, and we'll see if we get a bounce from there. Okay, so this could be one of those 20% scenarios where the D extension gets hit, and that's okay too, right? So coming down to the 1, closer view at the 80-20. So here on the 1, you got your 118, 127 zone here, support there, not at the D extension. So we could hit the D extension on the 4-hour, but not on the 1-hour. Okay, so here's going to be where trade management comes in and say, okay, again, this is another one where as price moved up here, I adjusted my stop loss a bit. But how do you manage your trade here, right? Are you managing off the 4-hour time frame where if price pushes down to hit your stop loss, or are you managing off the 1-hour time frame where if price pushes down, it's still inside the D extension, right? So looking at that and how you manage the trade is going to be key, right? What did you calculate from the beginning on what time frame, and then allowing price to go, right? Because if you are managing this off the 4-hour time frame, cool. Just know you might get stopped out here, right? And price gets to that support level. And now you drop down to the 1-hour time frame. You're still in this 118 127 zone. As long as this daily support level holds, right, and you get confirmation of a break to the upside, you'll have another entry opportunity on this. That's why you hear us say periodically, don't always just run from the trade if you get stopped out, right? Take a look at it, reassess it, and see what caused it to get there, and then see if your rules get met again, right? And here's a scenario where your rules could get met again if that daily support level holds at 66 152, right? And then you have an opportunity to re-enter off of a trend line break, right? And look for price to move to the upside. Okay, you guys follow me on that?
Yep.
Yes.
So that's where we are there, right? So we'll see if we get a continued push. How it could affect the dollar is if the dollar turns into is used as a safe haven asset. All right. With the war in Ukraine, we saw the dollar being used as a safe haven asset, right? More capital flow to the dollar, and then it also flowed to your commodity currencies. So, because the dollar can be used as a safe haven, but it also can be used as a risk on asset or a commodity, well, a risk on asset as well. So, that's the thing to watch from a dollar's perspective, is how it's being valued at that time. So that's the impact that it could have if it has one. Yeah. So that's where we are. So we'll see what happens. We'll see if we continue this trickle to the downside, right? And we'll continue to monitor. And when we get to the support level 66 152, we'll then reassess and see where things are and make decisions from there. Okay. Questions on CAD Swiss? Okay.
Hey, Ryan.
Yes, sir.
I got on late. Did we cover NZD USD?
Did not. That's the one I need to go back to.
Okay. Whenever if you have time, because
because I actually looked at it this morning too. So
yeah, it hit target 1 on the 4.
Let's see. Yep. Beautiful. I missed that part. But yeah, so here's an 80-20 snare, right? Here's that same consolidation look that we're seeing on that pound NZD, right? Pushed up, came back down, sideways, slow trickle, pushed up, came back down, and then started this move, right? And so as price has been moving to the upside, take those out, right? TP1 achieved, boom. Okay. So, all right, 84 pips to the upside.
Yep.
He got there. It just took his time. Yep. You saying something, Benny?
Nope. I was just agreeing with you. My bad.
Oh, okay. No, all good. Right. So prices took its time to get there. Right. So TP1 achieved. Now let's see what happens. Daily resistance level stayed below. Right. So we'll see again how the dollar moves. Right. And see if we continue to get capital to flow into the New Zealand dollar. See if we break this level. You see all these dollar pairs are coming into key dollar crosses are coming into key resistance levels. Right. Key resistance level. We got a reaction. Now what happens from here? Do we get a deeper pullback or do we break this level, continue pressing higher? Okay. So coming down to the one, this is what I was looking at on the 1 hour time frame. Because price pushed down, hit the D extension there, and then we got a reset, right? So through the consolidation, run the fibs off of the low, boom. So here's my next thought is, do we get a pullback and then a continuation here, right? Shallow retracement 118 and 127 zone, just shy of the D extension there, right? So what happens? Do we stay below this this resistance level, and do we get a push down and then a move back to the upside? Okay, so this is one to watch here on a retracement and then potentially continuation. Move sideways through the trend line, right? See that sideways push? Boom. So that's where we are on the 1 hour on the NZD dollar, right? We hit TP1. Now, do we get a pullback and then do we continue higher, or does this turn over and just push down, right? That'll be dependent on data. Okay. Beautiful move to the upside. Now, if you're still holding that trade to the upside, right, it's going to be up to you to manage that trade now, right? Do you take some off the table, right, and allow another piece to run, right? Do you close it entirely, right? How do you think through that to ensure that you capture some of your profit there? Okay, but that's where we are. That's where we are. So that there's 80-20 scenario that I got my eyes on. See if we get a break of the trend line and a push down to the downside. Okay. Questions on the NZD dollar? Nope. All right, cool deal. NZD CAD, we looked at this one yesterday. Right, price ran to the D extension. Let's come back to the higher time frame. Here we are, right? Overall down. We're in a retracement phase here, right? Pushing to the upside. We had a daily resistance level there that we broke through. Continue pressing long. Coming down to the 4. This is where we are. Didn't get into the 118, 127 zone, right, for an 80-20 scenario. So this would be boundary move, pushing long, pushed into a 50% retracement level, right? And we're starting to get a reaction here. Okay. The extension on the sub fib, right? Ran the smaller waves to the upside. The extension comes in line with the 618 retracement level. Okay. So question is, do we push up, get to that D extension on the sub fib, and then turn over and break down? Okay. We'll see how this looks on the 1 hour in a second. Right. But do we get price to push into the zone here first? So now as we come down to the 1, clean this up. Now as we come down to the 1, there's the low. So do we get a push into this 118 and 127 zone to be the extension on the sub fib on the 4 hour? And then do we get a retracement? All right. So here's an 80-20 that I also have my eyes on. See if we get this push higher to then come back. Okay. So there's another one on New Zealand CAD to keep on your radar. And we'll get posted in the Discord. Okay. Questions on the NZD CAD? No. Okay.
Hey, Ryan,
Sir.
did you see oil gap up on the 1 to hit the target? It's
Did
an
it?
80-20 swing on the 1. The gap up took it straight to TP1.
This gap here?
Yep. You see the 80-20 swing there on the 1 hour?
Man. I missed that one altogether there. Whew. Yep. And now we got a sideways push.
Hmm.
Even key fundamental data, when it happens over the weekend, right? Or key events, still pushes price in the direction, right? This zone is so key. So key. All right. But now we look at, right, and we broke back above. This was a support level, right? We've been playing that for a while. We broke back above. Now we'll see if price continues to the upside there. Okay. Man. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. All right. And on our capital fib here, 8-6 retracement. Start making the waves to the upside. Right. 95 is the next target. 95, 96. So look for oil to continue to push to the upside, right? And we'll see what types of constraints come in and things like that, but push to the upside nonetheless. We got sub fibs in here. So that's a 618 retracement. So we're actually looking at 103.70 as the next level. 103.70 as the next level. So we'll watch. We'll watch and see how price moves, right? But we'll track that too. 103.70 as our next target. Yeah, it's product of the reticular activation system, right? Once you see it, you can't unsee it. It's become important to you, right? And so your reticular activation system recognizes you've put importance on it. So things that have always been there, for the car scenario, the automaker didn't just start making more of that color because you bought it, right? No, they've always been there. You just haven't noticed them. You can go to Google and say, what is the RAS, right? And it'll come up. It'll come up. But there you go. But that's what it is, right? When you place importance on it, when you place importance on it, right? The brain and the mind recognize that, and they get to work. They get to work to reinforce what you've put importance on and to show you what's already been in front of you. Nothing changed. You just blocked it out because it wasn't important to you. Same thing with this 80-20 scenario, right? Nobody ever showed it to you, so you didn't know that it was an important thing. So when people talk about getting stopped out or getting faked out, right? Price pushes in one direction, then turns around. That's just 80-20 all day long. 80-20 all day long. All right. So that's what it is, man. That's what it is. So keep your eyes on those last couple pairs. We're looking at oil continue to move to the upside. That gap up is also a trend line break as well. We could see a bit of a pullback, but looking for oil to continue moving to the upside. Yep, that's what we've been talking about in Mindset Monday, and that's what we've been talking about is the reticular activation system. All right, we've been talking about it for quite some time. So appreciate the definition. Questions on anything that we covered this morning? Benny, anything before we wrap it up, bro?
No, sir. Great session. Looking forward to seeing what those meeting minutes and everything look like. See if it'll add to the continued weakness on the dollar. Don't know, but we'll find out.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right, good people. Have a phenomenal Wednesday. We'll be back at it tomorrow morning, 6:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time with my awesome partner, Mr. Benny Allen. Until then, talk to you soon. Peace.
Thank you.
Great
You are
session.
welcome.
Thank you.